The situation in Afghanistan is going from bad to worse. The US pullout is nearly complete. The Taliban is making rapid territorial gains. Meanwhile, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is in Moscow after a transit halt in Tehran. He's discussing the stabilization of Afghanistan with Russian officials. In the next 4 minutes, we'll get you details of each of these developments. We'll start with America's retreat. According to the Pentagon, the troop pullout is 90% complete. The remaining 10% will be covered by the end of August. At least 7 former US bases have been handed over to Afghan security forces. And nearly 1,000 C-17 freighter loads of equipment have been evacuated. Only 650-odd military personnel will stay behind, and they will not engage with the Taliban. They will only protect the US embassy and its diplomats. America says the onus is now on Afghanistan's neighbours to act responsibly and play a constructive role in maintaining peace.
For too long, many of Afghanistan's neighbors have been happy to see the United States engaged and the United States alone engaged. If there is to be a just and durable settlement and a comprehensive ceasefire, it needs to be supported by Afghanistan's neighbors, and we hope to see them act responsibly.
That's convenient. Had they acted responsibly in the first place, we wouldn't have been here. The Americans came, they stayed for 20 years, dropped what they call the mother of all bombs on Afghans, and now they want the neighbors to clear the mess. Their actions have only emboldened the Taliban. Their onslaught is picking pace. The terrorists have now taken control of 195 of Afghanistan's more than 400 districts. They're contesting 129 other districts. After Kandahar and Badakhshan, they have now shifted focus to a province in the northwest, the Badghis province. It's one of Afghanistan's most underdeveloped provinces, but it's important because of its location. This province borders Turkmenistan, and the Taliban has directly gone for its capital, the Kalai city. On Thursday morning, the Taliban attacked from all sides, broke into the city's central prison and freed the inmates. A video has emerged. It shows the Taliban speeding across the city on motorbikes. Some bystanders cheer with slogans. We cannot vouch for the authenticity of this video, but we can confirm that a pushback is underway. Afghan security forces have fortified several key areas. They're trying their best to ensure that the city does not fall. The provincial chief of police says the Taliban made the wrong assessment. They lost more than 80 fighters and should be leaving the city soon.
We are inside the city. The enemies of Afghanistan, the dirty Taliban, today wanted to take over the Kalai city and kill the honorable citizens of Badghis. They were wrong with their assessment and were faced with a quick response of our brave security forces. The enemy suffered over 80 casualties, and right now they're escaping from the city.
The situation is still developing. Turkmenistan, which borders the Badghis province, is not taking any chances. It has reinforced its military presence at all posts along the long border. It is preparing for an influx of refugees. So is Uzbekistan, Tajikistan and Iran. And speaking of Iran, yesterday India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar was in Tehran. He met the Foreign Minister and the President-elect. He discussed the situation in Afghanistan. Today, S. Jaishankar is in Moscow with the same agenda, to find a solution to this evolving conflict. He has several meetings lined up, one with the Foreign Minister, another with the Deputy Prime Minister, and yet another with the Chairman of Russia's State Duma Committee on International Affairs. Speaking at one forum in Moscow, the minister said that India always stood for an Afghanistan that is united, sovereign, and at peace with itself, and that this position has not changed.
What has been our position on Afghanistan? We have both supported, we were very clear 20 years ago, certainly, that we were for a united Afghanistan, we were for a sovereign Afghanistan, we were for an Afghanistan where minorities had a fair share of representation. We were for an Afghanistan which was at peace with itself and at peace with its neighbors. I don't think that has changed.
Ahead of his arrival, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov also made some interesting remarks. He said that Russia is closely watching what's happening in Afghanistan, that it's ready to use its military base in Tajikistan and ready to defend its regional allies if necessary.
As you know, we are closely watching what is happening in Afghanistan, where the situation has a tendency to swiftly deteriorate, including against the backdrop of the hasty exit of American and other NATO troops. We will do everything we can, including using the capabilities of the Russian military base on Tajikistan's border with Afghanistan to prevent any aggressive impulses towards our allies.
Russia has made its intentions clear. India, Iran and the rest of Afghanistan's neighbours are doing their bit. Well, most of them are. But with the Taliban spreading rapidly across the country, with no interest in indulging in a dialogue, it's hard to say how much the other stakeholders will be able to secure their interests. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.